Yeah, that baby is just.
Do we have a filter on? Because this looks really smooth. Can you see this?
Maybe you looking nice on your birthday. She had a great birthday. Look at
her. No, I mean it was a very ugly first half, but I'm really proud of this group. Very resilient. Just have a lot of pride in that locker room. We buckled down in the second half, and it was a team effort. You know, I feel like everyone in different moments made enough plays to win the game. But we also know that that's not something that we can play with, especially coming into the last two games on this road trip. Washington and New York. If we play like that versus Washington and New York, we will lose the game.
Gotcha. That third quarter, you go 4-6 from three. Were you doing anything different? Were they different looks, or was it just a matter of kind of the shots going down?
Andy, you know, in life, you just got to keep shooting. You know what I mean? First half, it is what it is. Second half, it is what it is. I was just going to keep shooting.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mike, you're next. Mike Noble, not Mike Hughes.
Thank you. Chelsea, I think in 4 of your last 6 games, with not counting Commissioner's Cup, since those stats technically don't count, you've had double-digit assists. And I know this is what you do, but that still really stands out, I think, with your playmaking. I wonder if you could maybe talk a little bit about that, and then I have a quick question for Kelsey right after that.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about this all the time, like the people I play with and the targets that I'm able to hit from the three-point line, slashing down the lane. Like, man, what a luxury. I know my numbers show it, but, like, the people that I play with is a testament to what I'm able to do on the floor. And they know it's coming. They know I'm going to try to find them in any way possible. I don't know how many turnovers I had, though. I was trying to look that up. I had way too many. So
Same.
I had 3, yeah. And those were in the first half. Like, it's indicative of the way we played, the tell of 2 halves. But, man, as far as, like, the amount of assists, it's the people that I'm able to rock with every night.
And Kelsey, I know you've watched this a lot in your time in Vegas, but when Chelsea, there just seems to be something like this extra gear she goes to when you really need points in terms of being a clutch player. Mm-hmm. What's it like when you kind of see, can you kind of tell when she's in that mode?
For sure. I mean, I think I said this last year after Commissioner's Cup, but I mean, Chelsea's the best point guard in the world. And I feel like one of the qualities of a great point guard is like knowing when to do what. And like knowing when to get your team sorted, get people involved, and then also just be really aggressive. And I mean, that's what makes her great. She has a great feel for when our team needs what. And down the stretch, I mean, I feel like you could poll any GM, any coach, any player in this league, and it would be like, yeah, I'd give Chelsea Gray the ball and get the hell out the way. So that's kind of like with our team, you know, obviously if people got it going, they got it going. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, like just don't get in the way.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Danny, you're up, and then Mike Hughes after that.
Kelsey, I think the way Asia described Becky's halftime speech was kind of busting a cap. I think that was kind of the verbiage that she used, but more so specifically when y'all went down 56-42 early in the third. You tried to make the run early. They came back. Without probably going into too much detail, what was said after that timeout, and what was that moment where y'all got going?
Yeah, there was 2 big turnovers on my part, and they're a very good transition team. They got out, and then I think they hit 2 threes, they had an and-1, and then we were giving up a ton of boards offensively, or excuse me, on the defensive end, their offensive boards. So in that timeout, we were like, okay, listen, we can't keep leaking out. We got to figure out how to gain, grow, rebound, and get stops. So I thought we did a great job, and you know, it says a lot about our group. People respond. You know, coach did
cuss us out.
Yeah, but hey, like, you know, at the end of the day, we're competitors, and I think we deserved it.
And Chelsea, obviously, when we talked about when you got your triple-double last week, it was more so about the guards getting the memo of getting a lot of rebounds tonight. Jackie obviously gets a double-double too. Just how important was it in the second half to get those rebounds and just kind of get the momentum going?
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret that a lot of times we're small. So it's important for guards to come in there and get the rebound, whether that's swooping them at the free throw line. We know Kia and Asia is going to be down low, and a lot of times they have their hands full on the board. So as much as we can help them, it really adds to like our transition offense. But Jackie being huge. Not just the rebounding, but like she's a force when she's in there defensively, and she's able to get that board and push. And like, I mean, it's hard in practice trying to stay in front of her. She's like a freight train coming down, coming down the lane. So when she's able to get that board and run, she's very, very hard to stop. And so she's had some key buckets, key rebounds, and came up with it.
All right, we're
Thank
gonna
you.
get time for 3 more if you can make them quick. Mike Hughes, Sabrina, and then close out with Willie.
Hey guys, appreciate the time. KP, first, I wanted to wish you a happy glow day. I hope today was everything you wanted it to be. But I did want to ask you, obviously, playing against this Sky team the last several years, you've seen so many changes from them going to a juggernaut last year to kind of just trying to find their footing this year. But one thing that's remained consistent is Kalia Copper and her game. And I was wondering if you can kind of attest to what you've seen from her this year and just her ability to just be as electrifying as she's been.
I mean, my favorite thing about her is just her competitive nature. I mean, the bigger the game, like she's trying to double down, and she plays hard for 40 minutes. She's a tough check. She's super explosive, shooting over 40% from 3. Every year she's gotten better. It says a lot about her in the off season. And so, we obviously, she's like the focal point of everyone's defense, trying to stop her, and she's still able to be super efficient and score at a high level. So, credit to her. I mean, she played great tonight. So, yeah.
Thanks, Kelsey. Sabrina?
Hey guys, I know you guys obviously think about things one game at a time, but you did just become the first WNBA team to ever win 30 games in a regular season, and you did that in 4 games, which is what most teams have played. I'm curious, does that mean anything to you right now or not yet?
It's pretty cool, but like we're striving for more than that. But like you said, we are doing one game at a time. But you never take for granted those wins. Like a lot of people come in this league, and let alone like getting to the playoffs or winning a championship. But it's also one game at a time. You can't look too far ahead and keep setting records as we go.
All right, and we'll close out with Willie.
First off, KP, happy birthday. For either one of you ladies, throughout the year when you're playing second half comeback, we've heard we can't play like this, like you just said, KP, earlier. We can't play like this in Washington, New York. But at the same time, isn't there something to be said, the resiliency that this team has shown that when it's time in the second half that you can come back from a double digit? I mean, you don't want to do that every game, but at the same token, y'all ladies do it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but at the end of the day, like if we can come back from a double-digit lead and win by a decent margin, like it's just a mental lapse in the beginning of the game. And when you get into bigger games and playoffs, like those are the differences. And so we got to tighten up. Like at the end of the day, we got to tighten up. We have a target on our back. Everyone wants to beat us. Everyone wants to punch us in the face, and we know that. So there's no reason to come in and not be ready.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be right back with Coach
Oh man, it was just a grinded out type win. Obviously, our defense was horrendous in the first half, and then it was very, very good in the second half. And that was the difference of the game.
All right, we'll go Andy and then Michelle, Michael. Sorry, Mike.
Hey Becky, you talk about the defense obviously, but you guys, I think we're down 6 in rebounding margin at halftime, end up winning the rebounding battle. What changed for you guys in that part of the game?
They decided that they wanted to do the game plan. That was it. At halftime, if I have to scream harder than we're playing, it's a problem. So, and they just locked in. I mean, like I told them after the game, I'm like, are y'all messing with me? Like, are you playing a joke? Like, this is funny. Like, because the two different teams, it's just a glaring difference when we play defense. And, you know, to their credit, they locked in. And I think we, you know, when this team is playing for their playoff life, like every game down the stretch is going to be hard. And I think we have to understand that and come with the approach of, you know, we make, we miss, we don't know. I mean, Plum's 0 for 5 in the first half and then is 5 for 7 in the second. I mean, you always believe that the shooting woes will turn, but the defense has to be there from the jump. And so hopefully we're starting to learn at this point that has to be a separation factor for us. It shouldn't feel good when teams are coming, you know, you come into halftime and they're shooting 50 from here and 45 from here, or 50 from 55 and 55, whatever it might be, on really things that were breakdowns. And so, you know, we sewed it up. Obviously, I ran people longer than I wanted to tonight, but I just went with the lineup that I felt was working.
Gotcha. You know, I know transition offense is always a huge part of your game plan, but it seemed like Chicago really had a hard time keeping up, especially in that fourth quarter. I guess, what does that say about the fitness of your team that you guys can really just step on the gas late in the game like that?
I mean, you see it and you see like moments of it, but this is one of the hardest working, most professional teams. And I don't think it's talked about enough. Our offense gets talked about, you know, this and that, but like their fitness and how they take care of their bodies, they're pros 360 days a year. They're not girls that go out crazy. Like they are pros. And so they know exactly what it takes for their bodies to be able to perform at a high level night in, night out. And it's not me, that's them. That's who they are.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mike, you're up next.
Yeah, Coach, I think from your perspective as a point guard, what Chelsea's able to do both in directing the offense and then calling her own number. Can you just talk about how impressive that is? It just seems like she does not make bad decisions for the most part, and that doesn't seem to matter like how tight the game is or how big the stakes are. She's able to do that.
Well, her head is her greatest asset. How she reads and how she dissects. Like I said, she's got a doctorate in pick and roll and reading defenses. But it's always going to be a fine line for her. It's when you're so capable as a scorer, but yet your job is to get everybody else the ball. At times, walking that line can be blurred. And it's not, I mean, we talk about time and score and just the effect of, you know, if we get a bad one on the possession before, like let's get into something good and get a good one the next time. But we got to be able to recognize those moments. And she's the best one out there at recognizing what needs to be done and who needs to have the ball when, including when she needs to get herself involved. So she's studied, she's prepared all the time. And honestly, a lot of times you just let her roll.
Thank you.
Danny.
Becky, you mentioned about what you had to say to them at halftime. I don't want to really focus on that, but come out with the first 5 points, seemed like a little bit of momentum going. Then they score 6 straight and go up 56-42, and then you call that timeout. What kind of happened in that discussion, in that huddle, that kind of clicked from that point on to the rest of the game?
I mean, They all know I hate using my timeouts to stop momentum. I like to save my timeouts in case I need them down the stretch. But again, the discrepancy, no team is going to go away, right? And I think sometimes it's just about getting settled, understanding that we're not going to get, I got no 13-point plays or 10-point plays. What we got is a moment by moment, buckle in type of attitude. And I really just wanted to get us into something a little bit more movement oriented, not necessarily like just pick and roll, but coming out, getting stops and being able to run, like securing the basketball and running. That's really when we can have that separation factor. But we had a couple turnovers, missed shots, quick shots. And so it's just kind of being, not saying much, actually just settling them down and settling in a little bit and getting back to what was working in the first, minute and a half where they had to call a timeout. You got to just always go back to the basics and decide if you're going to do it together. And they came together and decided they were going to do it together.